Hello, my name is Shaya Raquel Farley, and I am the Education and Community Action Coordinator for Garamia Theater, and I'm going to read a land acknowledgement today. We would like to recognize the Native people whose ancestral lands are where Garamia Theater operates. We wish to acknowledge the land of the Kickapoo, Tawakoni, Wichita, and Caddo people, which is now called Dallas. Comanches and Kiowa have also lived in this region, although it is not often recognized as their homeland. We acknowledge that Dallas is stolen land and that this city was built with stolen labor. Garamia Theaters de Grove honors the experiences and cultures of Black, Indigenous, and people of color. We call for the unity and solidarity of all of our peoples in making a better world.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Virginia Grice. I am the Mellon Foundation Playwright in Residence at Garamia Theater in Dallas, Texas. Garamia Theater is a theater designed to inspire and engage people to uplift their communities through transformative Latinx theater, multicultural youth experiences, and community action. This talk is part of a series of The Grove, Un Taller for Dreaming. There are 4 talks in this series. We hope that you will go to HowlRound and see last week's talk by Omio Shun if you did not catch that, and that you'll stay with us for the following 2 talks by Christiana Recolon and by Chaz Jewett, Sharon Day, and Priscilla Solis Ibarra. This evening's talk is by Marguerite Angelica Monique, an invitation to dance because we free. Marguerite Angelica Monique is a Jamaican-born, Jersey-raised, New York City-made performance artist, educator, currently based in Philadelphia. They focus on one's own body, one's own way of moving, adapting, healing, releasing, protecting, changing, and connecting to the unseen. She is a master of body ceremony and a curator of vibes. I first met Marguerite in Arizona. We did a project together inside of a woman's prison. And inside of this prison, where bodies were being policed, where bodies were being caged, Marguerite carved out a space for people to move freely. She had a social dance line in the yard as people claimed their own bodies inside of those cages. I'm very excited to share her work with you today because Marguerite has something to teach us about what it means to be free. Gracias.
Why we dance, why they band. Because you can't tell me this is it. I don't believe you. You won't tell me this is it. You won't fix me to a reality where I am oppressed, where my gifts are suppressed. I don't believe you. I dance with the unknown, the unnamed, the unseen, the undocumented, the unwritten, the underworld, the undead, the undone, the feared. I question this reality, and I make this reality. I can't believe I thought this was it. I can't believe I believed this was it. I'm escaping. I'm getting fucked up. I'm transcending. Hi. I'm dancing in other worlds. You cannot tell me this is it. I dance in other worlds that change your world. I live and I'm live, and I won't be lied to. I remember when I danced. I danced with the unknown, the unnamed, the unseen, the undocumented, the unwritten, the underworld, the unsung, the undone, the undead, the feared, the myself, the my people, the sky, the sun, the trees, the stars, the soil, the dirt, the moon. Now I see. There is much more than this now, here. There's much more. You can't tell me this is it. Like, come on, I remember. And now that I remember, no one can sit and look me in my face and tell me some shit they made up. Tell me some shit they believe that just so happens to affect my entire role on this planet, that just so happens to have me playing a part that has me fucked up, that has me completely fucked up. I don't believe you. And I'm not playing. And I forgive you. Thank you for listening. My name is Marguerite Angelica Monique. I'm a choreographer and a social practitioner, and a whole lot of other things that we can get into at another time. But this talk, I'm joining you today, invited from a dear friend of mine, Vicky Grice, to share some of my work with you all, share some of my thinkings around abolition and freedom. This talk is called An Invitation to Dance, 'cause we free. Yeah. I'm inviting you to dance, 'cause we free. This talk is about re-choreographing, or in a lot of cases, unchoreographing our relationships to the state and the ways of relating to ourselves and each other that come from the state. I believe this freedom work is relational and choreographic. And I'm ultimately interested in taking the state out, of the center of our discussions around abolition and freedom, and ask, really, what would it be like to move as if the state were an afterthought? Those imposed, those fixed ways of being in relationship with each other and our environment, what if they were an afterthought? What if that choreography was an afterthought? Can we forget that choreography as we make new ones? These are the questions coming up. Like, what does that mean for how we dance with each other and ourselves and our environment? And I feel like the main question I want us to be inside of during this talk or during this exchange is, how would you move through any given day if the state were an afterthought or didn't exist? So to kick it off and kind of get into some examples from my work, from my practice, I wanted to talk about, I don't know if I want to call it a piece. It's more of like a non-performance, a gathering that I had with a group of students called Cipher Practice Free Codes. So I'm sharing this as an example of sort of like the ways that I organize space and people around the question of like, how would you move if the state and the relationships that have been enforced by the state didn't exist, were an afterthought? So in the clip, you'll see a group of ciphers. So if you're not familiar with a cipher, the word cipher really just refers to sort of circle, an energetic circular sort of formation. And the ways that I use it is in dance, where we would create a circle and have the intention around letting whatever needs to come up through our bodies, and being in witness of each other of that, and holding space for that to cipher, to circulate, to spiral. So you'll see in the clip, there's a bunch of different ciphers, and the way that I kind of made the call for this work was I asked for anyone who felt like their bodies are policed, that their movement is policed and restricted in public spaces, in their neighborhoods, outside. Like, outside isn't necessarily a free space. If that's the case for you, come to the cipher, come to the practice. So a bunch of people came through. This was during the pandemic, when we were all on stay-at-home orders. So outside became a space where we kind of had to re-choreograph, had to find a sense of freedom. So these questions around, like, okay, how do I feel free in my body, especially if I come from lineages that have been policed and restricted inside of public space? How do I feel free in it? So I'm just going to show a little bit of a clip of the work as an example of how to imagine around this question of, like, freeing up space outside. And I'll say one more thing. These ciphers took place in multiple locations. So what we did is, at the same time every week, we would hold the cipher wherever we were at, whatever neighborhood, whatever city, whatever park we could find. We would gather with a bunch of people and hold a cipher outside, with the intention of freeing up our bodies and our lands. So yeah, I'm ready to show the clip now. Take a look, and yeah, just witness.
It's funny how money changes situation.
Yeah, so yeah, this process felt both really liberating and kind of dangerous, right? So we had to spend some time thinking about, or not thinking about, sort of practicing what to do if some police came and, like, asked what we were doing or asked us to move, and kind of how to interact with the state. Because we can't really pretend like our neighborhoods and the lands that we walk on don't have these legacies of really policing and kind of banning free movement, especially for certain peoples. Thinking directly about descendants of enslaved Africans, Really thinking about indigenous people of this land and lands across the oceans. Really thinking about young people, thinking about queer people, unhoused poor people, femmes, and the ways that their movements get choreographed, right? And a lot of times literally banned in public spaces. So I ask again the question of what would you do without a state that enforces these strict relationships? What would your choreography be? And let's go deeper into this question, because in the conversation around freedom, at least for me, the state is the most superficial part. It's the smallest part on the top. So I want to get deeper and talk about their relationships with each other, and ultimately the relationships inside of and within ourselves. In the workshop that I had with the cohort, right? This last Saturday, we met up and we had an exercise, or I facilitated an exercise around re-choreographing your dynamics with yourself, your relationships to yourself. So we drew a certain like recurring dynamic within ourselves in our journals that we wanted to change. And then we drew a different possibility of that dynamic. And then collectively with each other, we embodied, we danced this sort of like re-choreography, this dissolving, this abolition, this transformation of the old fixed dynamic that we were trying to change. So really trying to embody the revolution, right? Embody the change, embody the loss of something and the sort of like work that it takes to let something else come up. And really looking at that as a dance, as a choreography. But yeah, for me, the revolution is a dance, period. It's really revolutionizing the ways that we dance with each other. So again, I really want us to think about what would our day, what would our movement look like and feel like without these fixed dynamics, these fixed ways of relating. And the invitation is to dance that, right? So I'll share one other example from my work with a dear collaborator of mine, Lajanae McMillian. They're a new media artist. And we came together to sort of let this movement, sound, virtual ritual come through around reclaiming our bodies, our lands, our spirit, and our imaginations. So this was a 3D motion capture piece where we worked with each other in ritual. Sorry, I'll wait for the sound to back down behind me. We worked together in ritual, and the motion capture technology would witness our movement. As Lajanae likes to say, instead of capture, witness our movement. And then through the ritual, through our imaginations around like the worlds that we wanted to be in, the worlds that we felt free in, Lajanae designed these worlds that we were literally in while we were in ritual, but it was a way of making them real. So I'll show a clip of of a section of that work.
Control our spirituality. We will not let anyone extract our minds. We will not allow ourselves to be broken down. We are holding you accountable. Are we ready to divest from the lie? Are we ready to leave? To be free?
Yeah, so you got a glimpse of kind of what came up for us around this idea of like, yeah, moving as if the state doesn't exist. And also this question coming from, like when we tap into our ancestral knowledge too, like there's a lot of guidance around this question. Because this way of kind of like being with your environment, being with the elements, being with the land in the ways that our spirits feel aligned with is something that our ancestors, our people have been practicing, that we practice all the time, very naturally, like without thinking. So a lot of this work was about kind of combining movement technology with digital technology, with ancestral technology to kind of help guide us or remind us that we always have access to other worlds. We always have access to other worlds. And a lot of time that portal is through our bodies. So again, so the invitation is to dance. The invitation is to dance our freedom because we free. Let me talk about the idea of we free as I use it in my work. So it started technically, right, as a solo work in 2014 or 2015. That time I feel like was kind of hard to distinguish. It started as a part of a series in New York City that was curated by my mentor, Jawole Willajo Zahler. So this solo work was me putting on a sort of orientation that I had been already in practice around for my whole life. So I guess I'll talk a little bit more about those practices from early. So I feel like unconsciously I was beginning to define what freedom meant for me from like a very early age. I'm an immigrant. My family's from Jamaica. I was born in Jamaica. I'm Black. I have a womb. I'm also a child of the African diaspora. So all these sort of identities create a way of moving in the world that felt very fixed for me. These identities kind of asked for a certain choreography that I did not consent to. So it's like from a very early age, I was interested in re-choreographing these identities and my body and the way that my body moves through this world, becoming very aware of just these social rules and roles. And I'm like, I don't want to dance like that. I want to dance like this. I want to dance in a different way in this world. So for me, you know, this idea of freedom or even dance was a way for me to unfix myself from these choreographies, to kind of like unravel and get out of these choreographies and start making my own. So, but fast forward 20 to 30 years later, the phrase "we free" came through where I'm like, yeah, like we're free right now. Like there's no, like it's in us. Like it's not something that we have to reach for. Like I personally have been practicing freedom for years now at this point, and the people around me in my communities also have been practicing freedom. So yeah, I started using the words "we free" to orient and remind my work of what the real deal is, what the real is. That if we look around ourselves and look around at ourselves, right? Look at our power, look at our powers inside of our relationships, the power of our unlocked grief, our unlocked pleasure, of our gatherings, of our rituals. We can see, if we squint, right, and tilt our heads, that we're already free. Like, if we really look, if we really study it, if we really see ourselves, we see we're already free. And at least that's what I'm telling myself. But I want to share an excerpt of how the "we free" process shows up in my work, like how I kind of organize my artistic practice around it. It's centered in music and dance. So I'll share a clip and say a little bit more about how how it's showing up in my work. We Free is a multimedia project that looks at the millennial and post-millennial approach to liberation through its music, social dance, social media, and social practices. For example, our relationships. We Free is centered in the livelihood and reparation of the African continent and diaspora. It is a social experiment, a conversation, a non-performance, a call to action, a revival, a bashment party, an ode to, and in moments, a critique of our generations and what we're doing right now, to be free. Yeah, so I feel like when I really summoned this phrase in my practice, that's when my approach to choreography changed from even something as simple as it being outward facing and performative and something to be consumed. I feel like when I was deep into looking at my dance, how it can, kind of be my livelihood, looking at commercial dance in terms of commerciality and making a living. A lot of it was about performing and activating these legacies of being consumed, especially as Black and Brown people. So when I kind of started receiving the reminder that we free, it changed my orientation to circles, to constellations, to just different shapes, triangles, clusters, and not just simply the like linear outward facing type of one-dimensional fixed way of performing. So I'll go through a couple key definitions of words that I'm using a lot, that I've already been using a lot. The first is freedom. What do I mean by freedom? So to me, it's simply, for me, I had to make it simple just from looking at my story. It's really the practice of being unfixed for me. It's becoming unfixed from the fixedness. And I see oppression as fixedness. So for me, freedom, and this is also inherited, it means getting out. It means getting unfixed. And maybe that'll change for me. But right now, that's where it's at. I want to talk a little bit about how I use the idea of the African diaspora. So I'm looking at the African diaspora as another sort of reminder of how these geographies and identities as we know, how they form, like how did they form? I remind myself why I'm in the United States right now, why my family's in the United States right now, a place that I probably wouldn't like choose actively to come to if I had the choice, like at least not in this current kind of context. So I'm reminding myself that the African diaspora, again, as we know it, came out of mostly forced migrations and forced incarceration. From the way that folks got to where they got to when they landed and experienced a generational form of incarceration. So again, freedom to me is about getting out and unfixing ourselves. And it's very tied to this idea of the African diaspora as, needing to recover from these forced migrations and these enforced incarcerations. So I don't use the word abolition in my work, but as I'm saying it, I'm like, my idea of freedom and the African diaspora is like directly connected to abolition. It's something that is like, there's kind of no choice but to be in this practice of abolition as a descendant of the African diaspora, since so much of our choreographies have been, there's been a deep relationship to incarceration and limited movement. So so I want to now get back to the invitation, which was the dance, because we free. So the ways that I approach abolition, approach freedom is through dance. And it's like, to me, the connection is so clear. That's the way that we get unfixed from these fixed and forced relationships. It's through the dance, it's through the body, It's through relationship. And when I locate the practice of freedom in my body, you know, like it makes it something that can travel with me anywhere. I can take it with me everywhere. And that's a really big ancestral sort of technology I'm grateful I've inherited, is that I can carry my freedom with me when I locate it in my body, when I know that it's coming from my body and my body's connection, right, to other bodies. So to end this talk, for now, I want to put the question in practice. So this question of how do we move with the state as an afterthought? So let's dance. Let's dance. I'm inviting you to dance. I'm inviting you to dance. I'm inviting you to dance. Let's dance. We'll play a recording of me reciting the poem, that same poem, Why We Danced, Why They Banned, that I shared in the beginning. We'll play a recording of it, and I'll move to that recording. And I invite you, if you're watching, see what comes up in your body, how you might want to move, and yeah, trust whatever comes up. But yeah, let's dance. Hopefully, if you're watching, you'll dance with me. Why we dance, why they banned. Because you can't tell me this is it. I don't believe you. You won't tell me this is it. You won't fix me to a reality where I am oppressed, where my gifts are suppressed. I don't believe you. I dance with the unknown, the unnamed, the unseen, the undocumented, the unwritten, the underworld, the undead, the undone, the feared. I question this reality, and I make this reality. I can't believe I thought this was it. I can't believe I believed this was it. I'm escaping. I'm getting fucked up. I'm transcending. High. I'm dancing in other worlds. You cannot tell me this is it. I dance in other worlds that change your world. I live and I'm live, and I won't be lied to. I remember when I danced. I danced with the unknown, the unnamed, the unseen, the undocumented, the unwritten, the underworld, the unsung, the undone, the undead, the feared, the myself, the my people, the sky, the sun, the trees, the stars, the soil, the dirt, the moon. Now I see. There is much more than this now, here. There's much more. You can't tell me this is it. Like, come on, I remember. And now that I remember, no one can sit and look me in my face and tell me some shit they made up. Tell me some shit they believe that just so happens to affect my entire role on this planet, that just so happens to have me playing a part that has me fucked up, that has me completely fucked up. I don't believe you, and I'm not playing, and I forgive you. Thank y'all so much. Oh, it was nice dancing with you all. I hope we re-choreographed something together. I hope you got a chance to just feel a new sort of relationship to yourself, a new possibility for relationship with others, with your environment, and an unrelationship to the state. Thanks again. See you later.
Marguerite, thank you so much. If you are in Dallas, we hope you'll join us this Sunday, March 20th, 12 to 3 p.m. at Gateway Park. Marguerite, Angelica, Monique will direct a community gathering called We Free, a social experiment, a conversation, a non-performance, an endeavor to talk about and embody what we are doing right now to be free. This is a celebration of spring and each other. Together, we will activate the land and our own bodies with music, songs, poems, and dance on the first day of spring. If you are not in Dallas, we still invite you to join us. Wherever you are, go outside, touch the earth, give thanks for this day, sing, dance, plant seeds for your liberation and for our collective liberation. And next week, Tuesday, March 22nd, we will have episode 3 of this artist series by Christiana Ray Colon, Artists Are the Vanguard of Revolution. We hope you'll join us for that talk. And in the meantime, we hope that you're planting seeds for freedom, seeds of liberation, seeds of dreaming. Gracias.